Hey guys, welcome to the Black Film Guild. It's Walter here. And today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about shallow depth of field. What does that mean? People use it all the time. Well, I'm going to solve that for you right now. These are basic tips. If you already know what it is, feel free to skip the video. But you know, for there's people who are trying to get into filmmaking, and I want to make sure they understand some of these more basic the basic terminology that some of these people use. So shallow depth of field has to do with the way an image looks, right? You ever notice how sometimes when you watch movies, the background looks very creamy and it's out of focus, but the subject is in focus? That's what people are talking about. And the way that they get that is they're using what's called a lower number f-stop, right? It's a wide open aperture. So for example, I'm shooting right now on a Canon 24-70, which has an f2.8 aperture. So when you have the aperture at 2.8, it's wider, right? It's bigger. And when it's bigger, you get more shallow depth of field, right? So it's gonna be shallower. So right now, you see behind me, I'm at a 2.8, and that's what the background looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the background to something different, like an f16 or an f20, and I'm gonna adjust the lighting to be comparable, but I want you guys to see the difference in the lighting, the difference in the background when all I'm doing is changing the aperture from 2.8 to 20, okay? I'll be back and let you guys see that. All right, guys, so here we are at f20. So if it's according to what I'm thinking, it's gonna be a lot more in focus. The background's gonna be a lot more in focus after I change that aperture. So now I'm gonna go back to 2.8 so you can kind of see what I'm talking about one more time. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the focal length. That's another way that you can change the way the background looks. You can make it more cinematic if you have a larger focal length. So if I'm using an, let's say, 200 millimeter, and I have the subject on, when I'm shooting a 200 millimeter, they're going to be more, the background's going to be more out of focus than, let's say, if I used a 35 millimeter. So the more zoom, the more bokeh, the more background blur you're going to get, okay? The next thing is going to be the image, the chip size, right? A larger chip is going to be able to help you with achieving a more bokeh or more background blur. And so that's one of the reasons why, you know, these DSLRs, which have these very large sensors, are very successful at achieving the cinematic-like look. They might not have the same bit rates, they might not have the same image quality, as because there's a lot of compression. In order to make the processing happen, because they don't have dedicated fans and they can't deal with the level of processing, so they have to compress things, but they have that large chip sensor which can help out with some of the look that people are going for. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about with depth of field in order to create the background blur is going to be how close you are to your subject. So the farther you are away from your subject, the less background blur you're going to be. So let's say, for example, if I'm shooting right now at f2.8 at this distance, I'm going to have a certain amount of background blur. Now, if I want more background blur, all I need to do is move the camera closer to the subject, which would be me, refocus on that subject, and then I would have more background blur to show for that. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. We talked about a few different ways that you can change the level of background blur or bokeh to the image. And mainly I wanted to tell you guys what depth of field was. So this gives you an understanding of what people mean when they say depth of field. What's the depth of field that you're looking for? What's the look that you want? I hope this helped you guys out a lot. Please remember to like and subscribe. Give me a comment below and let me know what you think and what videos you want to see next. And I hope to see you guys again here next time.